Hey guys, thanks for joining me. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a full setup of the Whipr Row. I kind of went into building it myself first and I found the instructions, the paperwork that come with it, actually quite confusing, and it was quite hard to actually know how to do it. I then went on the video version of what they do, and although it was better, there were still issues with it. So I thought what I'll do is I'll do a full setup and go through it step by step. So for any of you that want to get this product, know exactly how to set this thing up. So let's jump straight into the video. So some of these things when you're going through the video, they'll talk about what different parts are called, but it's still not very clear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through a different setup and actually just show you step by step where to start. So the first bit I start up with is this bar here. You'll be able to tell which one it is because it's got this big spirally thing at the end, this massive sort of screw. So we're gonna start with this one first. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the back leg on. Okay, so we're going to slide this one here. If yours may come with already attached, mine was, but just in case it isn't, I've done it like this, so at least this way you know how to do it if you're a little bit confused. So you pull this all the way up and it'll go to the very end, and then you'll see there's actually a nice little hole right in there that is going to slot in nice and clear. So you're then going to tighten that one up. And that's the start of our main rail. So now we've got that, the next bit we're going to go on to is the actual seat. Okay, so what you want to do is make sure that the incline bit is at the front and the decline bit is at the back. You'll be able to notice it as you pick it up. Okay, so what you want to do is, so this is how it will seat up. Check which one's more inclined and you're going to slide this along. You might have to take this little bar out because otherwise it won't slot in properly. What you do is you'll end up having to angle it to go all the way in and end up sliding like that. Then you'll get this bar and this sort of like slides in across the top and you'll see it will slot in here. So that's that step. We've got the seat on now. Put it back into that position. Next, we're going to move into this sort of weird little post thing here. You might be a little bit confused about what this is. Basically, this is just a middle structure because obviously this rail is quite long. They need to have something that's going to be in the middle to give it that support because obviously if your body weight is going to be on here. And what actually happens here is this actually slots on halfway across. And this ends up only going on halfway along the rail because this next bit is then going to slot in. You'll be able to tell you have the right end because at this part here, the bit that I told you about with the screw on the end, this actually goes in later on. You'll see a massive screw down the middle of here. This is actually going to help lock it up a little bit later on. But as you can see, these are all spare gaps because this end is then going to end up slotting in. And then this little screw system is how we're going to tighten up and then lock it into place. So this can be a little bit funny. I found it a little bit tricky to actually line up. So play around with it, have a little wiggle, and it should line up perfectly. First time I did it, it was a little bit strange, but as you do it, it will line up nicely, okay? Then we have those little bits in there. This is now locked in. Kind of, okay, it's in place. This is where this end bit that I was talking to you about, the screw on the end, right on the side of here, wherever you can see it there, right on the end of here, this is where you want to now screw this up. And as I said, there's a screw that goes all the way along here, and there's obviously like a thread section on this end. And now if we tighten this all the way up, this then locks the two into place. Now this center bar there is actually then going to give you that sort of support in the middle bar and basically just keep tightening up. And now we've kind of got the start of our main rail. As you can see, this little section here is now offering us that support dead in the center where there's going to be a joint. So that's why that's there. The next step is we now have to put the front rail onto this front bit here. So, similar to the other end, you're going to slide this through here, you don't have to go too far, because underneath, I'll try and zoom in after, I'll flip it under here this way actually, you'll find that as you're screwing through, there's actually a hole here. This then slides up just enough, and then you'll have one of these. Again, you'll have a number of these. You just line up the hole and tighten up. We now have a base of our rower. So the next section we're going to work on is actually putting up the platform that we're going to be then putting the Whipr base unit on. So the next thing you're going to need is this section here. And these things do feel really light. Again, this is meant to be portable, but they are pretty thick. It's very, very strong. And obviously the welded joints look pretty good. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be hooking this into here. Okay, so we want to be going in at this end here. And there's, what I'll do is, there is a slot on top, and there's also a bolt through here. And you'll notice that there's a bit just here that slots into there. I found it a little bit of a, not so much of a challenge to get in, but I found instead of tightening it up from the top first, I found actually trying to tighten up the bottom width first was easier, because for some reason it didn't line up very well. So I'd recommend doing this bottom one first, and you want to be using the longer ones. In the instructions, it's not particularly clear which ones you want to be using all the time, but in this section, you have two long ones. This is the section that you want to use it in. So I recommend doing this one first. Don't tighten it all the way up. Make sure you get this one in and line it up. Most of the joints in here line up pretty well, but there's a little bit in a section later on. I found some bits felt like they were just like cross-threading a bit, but got them in the end. But once you found the hole, just tighten them both up. And these are the two longer ones. That's now secure, and that's sorted. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on is the actual base unit that the Whipr unit is going to go on. So this is what it looks like, and I really do like the locking system that is on this for actually putting the base unit on. So this simply just slides on with this bit kind of facing us. Slides on down there, and you'll get a couple of screws to be able to tighten them on. This bit I will mention now because I do think it's worthy putting on now than later on and tightening them both of them up at the same time. This is going to be the section that you'll use if you want to make the Whipr a little bit harder. This is a section in the video that was done by Whipr directly that I didn't think was very, very clear, and I actually was struggling to know where to put this part. This part is basically where you want to make it a little bit more challenging, and I will show you a little bit further in the video how you make the Whipr more challenging, but I'm going to bring this up now because while we're tightening on this base unit, we might as well do both at the same time. So this basically just slots on. You'll see some slots just here. Just put it on there like that. And that's all you have to do. There's one on the top and there's one on the bottom. So use the little screws and tighten them on. And this, like I said, will lock in the actual holding unit for the base unit and for the section to basically attach the main wire that comes out of it and kind of make it so you are pulling it longer. So it just makes the intensity a little bit harder. But like I said, when I had to watch the video numerous times, and even still, it wasn't very clear how you do it. And I managed to work it out so it saves you guys having to do it at a later date. So we have the base unit here. So now we're going to be actually putting on the base unit. So now we're here, this bit, I kind of locking system I really like. Make sure these two sort of black knobs are the opposite end of you, not closest to you, furthest away. And what you'll find is you've got these little slots on the side, and on here, they're flat. And basically, make sure the unit is actually facing you. It slots in on the side, and all you do is you turn these towards you. And that now flat size on the outside, and the curved unit is now on the inside. and now that's locked into place. So a really nice little unit there to be able to set it up. The next thing we're going to focus on is actually putting the feet on. Okay, so whether yours will come packaged like this, I don't know. I recommend once you have them set up together to actually just lock them in like this, because it just makes things a lot easier when it comes to you wanting to set it up as fast as you can. But in case you don't have it set up like that, I'll show you how it may come to you. So you'll have your foot pads, and then these are the actual screws that I found were a little bit harder to actually thread up. I don't know why. Maybe it's just mine. Yours might be fine, but I found mine a little bit more challenging to get on and off. Okay, so you'll have the 2 foot pads, a couple of these little screws, and you get this bar. This bar basically just threads straight through. There's a hole just here on the side. This is where your foot paddles are going to go. So I recommend don't do what I did and end up putting the pads on the wrong way around, and then I was then trying to work out how you do the locking system. So what you'll find is here you'll have a couple of locking things here on the back. It's basically how you change the setting of the angle of the foot pads. Make sure they're at the bottom. Don't do what I did and I was wondering why I couldn't lock it into place and they were flipping around. Have them at the bottom. This one, obviously, the locking pin comes out the side, on the left hand side. So this is going to be the one that goes on the right hand side, because down here, if I move this to the side, you've got numerous locking angles. So this one, again, locking pins on this side, pops out this side. When you want to change your angle, this is then going to lock in and it's going to change the angle. So again, don't do what I did and then wonder what you've done wrong. Make sure you have them on the right side. Isn't explained in the video, isn't explained on the instructions, but just make sure that this is obviously your ankle strap. So you change it so you make it nice and tight. This is your foot strap. Make sure left hand side is going to be your right foot. So you can put this through here. This slides through this bar here, as you can see, a bit stiff, and then you'll see another hole that goes right through the middle of the foot. This then slides in on this side, and what you want to do is basically just push this pin so it's just coming out slightly or sort of flush with the side of the foot paddle, and then you get your screw here. This is the section that I found that for some reason took a little bit longer to screw in. Some, like now, really loose and it screws all the way up. Make sure you just screw it right until it's done up tight. But sometimes I was doing it and it just wouldn't screw in, and it felt like it was like cross-threading really easily. So just be careful of that. They will fit, just have a little bit of patience with them. Some are obviously better than others. As you can see, it's just slightly coming out, just slightly flush. Get in here. Remember the rule, righty tighty, lefty loosey, so turn to the right. And now this one's working well now I'm filming, and that's good. So basically just tighten up these on either side, and then these are going to be locked in. Like I said, these will flip. And you're going to be thinking, well, that's not good. This is why you want to make sure that the locking pin that's on the back is in place and on the right side. Don't make, like I said, make the mistake I did. And it's very easy to use. You play around the back and you'll see how to use it. And then basically you come down and the pin will lock into position, whichever one you want. Find a preference that works right for you, whatever angle you prefer for maybe doing the rowing, whether if you do get the kayak set and you might have that. If you're sitting down and actually using this, and you might actually want to use it to sort of as if you're canoeing. Whatever you want to do, find the angle that works right for you. But that is how you put the feet on, and that's how you're going to then change the angle. Just a little catch in behind. Okay, so now we're actually going to attach the handle, the bar, so you're able to actually start rowing. So this is the bit that I found a little bit tricky, and in the video it really was not clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip it round. So you might be able to see it from my angle. Okay, so this is important why we stuck in this pin here. And what you'll do is you pull this out. I'll take this out. Okay, the nice thing about these pins is they're all magnetic. Clicks into place really, really nicely. So I really like that. It's a really nice touch. Okay, so what you would normally do As you pull this out, this then sort of lines up with there. And goes straight through. Obviously make sure that the flat end is flat here and it goes in. But it's as simple as that. Hooks in like that, you've got a hole, goes right through, you then start rowing. So you have your difficulty at the back, but you'll find if you spin it, you'll go into the right like that, it's gonna make it harder. Go to the left and it'll make it easier, just in case it stops you having to go around and look which one's easier. Spin it that way to make it easier, spin it that way to make it harder. Very, very simple, and you can go through here. This little catch here is really, really cool. You lift it up and you can actually put it down and you hook in your handle there. So when you're actually setting up, you're not having to lean forward to do it. Really, really nice touch there. However, if you want to make it difficult or more difficult, there's a way in which you can then do it to then make it harder. However, in the video, it's not very, very clear. So I'm going to show you here. So what you do is uncatch this, pull this off here, okay? Then what you do is, and this is why we added on this block here, okay? As opposed to doing it later and wondering what it's used for. You open up the magnet thing there, pull this through, and then this then locks it in. But now you can kind of create a bit more of a loop. You'll have this wheel. You'll be wondering what this wheel is for. This is now when it's being used. What you do is get the wheel, connect it up to now the loop you've created with this sort of, say, call it a double bar, somewhere where you can attach it to. And now this hole, the wheel then goes inside of the handle. Okay. And then it's going to be harder now. You've got the wheel, it's now being longer, and now you've created a loop. So again, if you're wondering how to make it difficult, this is a way of making it difficult other than just turning up the dial and going from 5 to 10, whatever it is. This actually makes it more difficult. And now you're going to know what this actual bar is for and also the wheel system. And then you just pull, and then that's going to make it more difficult. Once you're done, you've got your little hatch there, which is really, really handy, and I really, really like that. So guys, that is how you set up the Whipr Row. If you have any more questions or you need a little more details, maybe you're stuck in certain points, please let me know. But so far, so good. It feels good, and you got to think this thing is meant to be portable. So all of this is meant to fold apart and fit into a suitcase. So far, I like it. I think it's really cool. I think this sort of locking mechanism is really, really handy. I'm going to be doing a full in-depth review on the rower, so make sure you subscribe for that. I'm also going to be doing setups for the ski erg and also the paddle system plus review, so make sure you subscribe for that, and also workouts. And I'll see you guys in the next video.